This is Sybert signing into Kane's Wrath on the map Forgotten Forest for a 2v2 on the left as the cyan marked of Kane. This is GwaspaRi. His teammate as the purple Steel Talons. This is Dizzlicious. And on the right side, making up team number 2, kicking it as the Pink Traveler 59, and yes, going for at least a couple of descents right out of the gate, and a full-on descent rush from that stasis chamber. This is ProSkills. Maybe a Smurf of Bike Rush owns, I don't know, on the south side of his base as the yellow nod. This is Moodii. Uh-oh, that is a bike right out of the gate. That's not a scouting buggy. Is this going to be a double whammy bike descent attack combo? What's coming next? Okay, no, I think it was just one bike. So I guess that is going to be a scouting bike, which, you know, that's a little bit curious. Normally you would do a scouting buggy, but I guess in this case you go for the scouting bike and maybe you pack it along with the descents. Anyways, right out of the gate, some aggression coming in from our team on the right side. Descents in the north and south. ProSkills put a ton of cash into this rush. The stasis chamber, the upgrade. I mean, he's got those fast legs for the rest of the game, so that's good. But these Awakened squads are absolutely shredding those descents, so much so that there is going to be like half a descent squad left by the time this attack is brought to bear. ProSkills is going to need to do something in the mid-game to sort of make up for this. I assume it's going to be just pump a ton of harvesters and then maybe go into cultists or other silliness over there. This replay is a little bit old, but by the way, GwaspaRi does have another mirror-only tournament coming up soon, and I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that one. His mirror-only tournament the first time, which was GDI, Nod, and Scrin, was super fun to watch, and it's definitely one of those things that I wouldn't want every tournament to be like that, but having a tournament every once in a while that is great. Double refinery on the main base, natural expansion into a double war factory for Moodii. So this is going to be big vehicle play, or at least he is posturing that way. By the way, the next War Factory, the next War Factory is actually in the main base, but the next mirror-only tournament is actually not going to be GDI, Nod, and Scrin again. It's going to be one sub-faction from each of the three. I don't remember which, but it's going to be kind of the same thing as GDI, Nod, Scrin, but just a different sub-faction. And then I think the plan is to eventually do a third mirror-only tournament in which it rounds out the last 3 of the 9 factions, and we get to see, through those 3 tournaments, a lovely little variety of set of mirror matchups, stuff that we don't normally necessarily get to see. Harvesters taking a ton of damage, bikes coming in from Moodii, and he's going to find 2 kills almost certainly. The defense here from GwaspaRi is an attempt to help out Dizzlicious, but Dizzlicious just does not have the units to support these harvesters. 3 harvesters down. Watchtowers are the only real response from Dizzlicious, and Moodii finds the damage that ProSkills never was able to. A couple of buggies showing up here from GwaspaRi. You saw the sell-off of the buildings to get those Awakened squads out as well. Hopefully, since GwaspaRi is marked of Kane, we get to see some big infantry tactics in the mid and late game, and not just bike buggy spam until the end of time. Harvesters and refineries getting established in the south, but Moodii might want to keep up the pressure. It's going to be an airfield in the south for Dizzlicious. I think he's just rocking that one war factory, and yeah, he goes into the command post, goes into the airfield, foregoing the second refinery at the natural expansion, and also skipping that second war factory as well, going double airfield. So this is certainly a bit of an unorthodox play from both of these teams. I guess a big bike buggy punch at your natural expansion isn't that unorthodox, but I feel like ProSkills trying to do the super descent rush and then Dizzlicious going into the double airfield follow-up is a bit unorthodox for how normally people play these matchups. I'm not sure what he has planned for that double airfield because he is not doing anything with it just yet. but Dizzlicious should be bringing some orcas, or should be bringing something else as well. Radar jamming missile fires off there from GwaspaRi. And okay, he was hoping to swing in these bikes. You saw the radar jamming missile fire off, and then he was hoping to bring those bikes in at the same time. I guess Moodii could have also fired it off, but most likely it was GwaspaRi there. Portal was kept around by ProSkills, and he's going to be keeping up the descent numbers at least a little bit, just to keep those descents around so that he can have that defense. Photon Cannon gets deployed, and GwaspaRi comes in here with the attack bikes, but I don't know that he'll find a single harvester kill. He does get one, and I think that is all he will get. You saw him doing damage to a couple of other harvesters, but ultimately the defense was a little too tight from our team on the right to be easily defeated in that way. Moodii grabbing the blue tib, but this is true team play. You're guarding your opponent, your allies' harvesters with your descents to keep his harvesters safe. That is real team play from our team on the right. Moodii and ProSkills joining forces there, as this is going to be a double airfield into Firehawks, and this seems like it's been a bit of a, perfect laser fence timing there, and the bikes are just there in the right position to respond. It was Stratofighter in, and Dizzlicious did not manage. Whoa, that might have been a mistake, and the second Firehawk goes down. So many actions in so little time. GwaspaRi going to be beaconing that tech center. Double airfield, but then one of them sold off into the Stratofighter, into the Firehawks, and then the big launch as GwaspaRi manages to snipe a refinery. A big launch into that assault on the other side of the map, but the laser fence saves the tech lab, and that just was a kind of a domino effect of bad endings for Dizzlicious. He did the double airfield, didn't do anything with it. Tried to go for the tier 3, didn't quite get it. Gets the operations center, though, and he does manage to snipe that. Keeps all 3 of his remaining Firehawks alive. He rebuilt one of them, and it looks like Moodii is going to get caught out here. His stealth tank going down. Phoenix showing us the power of the stealth tank in that show match versus Space. And Moodii once again with the harvester killing vibes as he wants to go for those harvesters and cut down the income of his opponent. He's a believer in bike buggy. He's a believer in those upgrades, and he is going to get 3 more harvester kills at least, maybe even a 4th one as he's closing in and surrounding GwaspaRi's economy. Moodii just keeping up the pressure. This guy is relentless, and he does not care how many units it costs him, but it does really feel like he is getting good value for these units. Barely will not get that last harvester as mammoth tanks, watchtowers, and shredder turrets are all joining together to clean up those forces. Firehawks showing up, trying to bomb out whatever was down here as ProSkills is a little bit worried about his tech and a little bit worried about those Firehawks coming in and opposing him. Shredder Shard Launcher upgrade coming in for ProSkills. He's going to be able to get some of that extra value as an additional Catalyst Missile rocks the world of Dizzlicious. He never built a second refinery in a good position. He built one back there, and now his harvesters are glitched out a little bit. 3 of them fully loaded up with Tiberium. A stealth tank just watches those Firehawks, and that missile, I think, is just going to wherever the Firehawks will end up. The Tier 3 doesn't go down, but I think another operations center and more power plants do get eliminated. The Firehawks do all survive, so Dizzlicious is getting whatever value he possibly can. And as a Steel Talons player, he is doing a lot more with aircraft than a typical Steel Talons player that we see. Another stealth tank gets shot down in the middle of the map. And in the north, GwaspaRi takes the expansion. He's got the upgrades for his bikes and buggies. He almost would have caught that MCV. The Tibcore bike slamming into that MCV could have been devastating, but it won't quite be enough. The MCV deploys a little bit far away from that central Tiberium field, and actually GwaspaRi catches another stealth tank there right as it pops out of that war factory, and the Tib Vane detonation coming in. I'm not actually sure who fired that off, but as the screams of the Eradicator Hexpod join the fight, more buildings getting bombed out of existence, it seems, and these Firehawks finding yet another angle to get in but a couple of them do pay the price for that last bombing run. Double MCV play. Moodii is looking to his Nod roots to inform his multi-MCV play. I don't know if there's anything that a Nod player loves more than a multi-MCV play. Bloodhounds getting called in, but the Steel Talons, Bloodhounds there. So a couple of Wolverines, couple of Pitbulls. No railguns just yet. Must be... Oh no, it's only about a quarter of the way done if he's even getting railguns at this point. We've seen the focus on the aircraft, the focus on those Firehawks, and that is where Dizzlicious's money has been going. It has not been going into his ground army, which typically we would see a Steel Talons player focusing much more on the ground army and focusing much more on those big, tanky, firepower-heavy units. As Baby Bert is getting ready to go to bed, these Firehawks are getting ready to make a MCV go to bed. And this Eradicator Hexapod is here to make his opponents bite their own tongue, just like Baby Bert just accidentally bit his own tongue as the phase fires off to save that Eradicator Hexapod, and his Saboteur sneaking along the north side of the map, but it looks like these Descents and Buzzers are going to seek him out and destroy him. Goodbye. As the Cultist runs forward, grabs just a single Pitbull. Not the greatest target for Cultists to ever mind control there, but a Mammoth Tank a little bit better. Railgun still not finished off. Fortunately, that Eradicator Hexapod is not crushing any of these big, expensive GDI Steel Talons tanks, but as Redeemers close in on the front line, Moody's position becomes a bit more desperate to control this middle of the map to keep Dizzlicious from claiming all of this delicious Tiberium there. GwaspaRi in the north, and it looks like Moodii sees these couple of avatars and beacons them for some reason or another. Dizzlicious brings in the, well, actually, no, the Shredder turret is from GwaspaRi. The little defense against two epic units on this southern central field is definitely not enough to stop these epics from crushing further forward. Dizzlicious with the railguns. He's finally brought them to bear on the map, but he could not save his MCV in the south. The stealth field keeping it a secret for a little while. A couple of behemoths closing in. This Eradicator Hexapod back up to about 2/3 health. Then there's the first crush as that Eradicator Hexapod gets a Harvester as well, closing the distance on another Harvester potentially, and another Behemoths. Unfortunately for GwaspaRi, his Vertigo Bomber goes down. His magnetic mines don't land quite as precisely as he would like, and it's just not working out to kill that Eradicator Hexapod swiftly. The Behemoths are getting really good damage from a distance, and this EMP chain is gonna keep on going. So GwaspaRi is actually gonna get a kill finally on that Eradicator Hexapod. The MCV has actually survived so far. The Mammoth Tank finally goes down. The EMPs from GwaspaRi continuing to lock down the epics of his opponents, using Awakened Squad, using buggies as well, whatever he can to lock down these units. Conyard is taking more and more damage, but these Spectres will soon be exposed if these forces from the left side are not stopped. A mine drop on top of the avatars, and there's going to be double cultists grabbing those avatars and targeting down the Redeemer immediately. GwaspaRi must retreat. He's got to pull back as Moodii brings the pain, and the Spectres continue to shell that MCV. It has survived for the current moment, but the battle is here in the southern half of the map for this center Tiberium field. The bikes push forward, the Eradicator Hexapod steps back out onto the field, and the MCV survives for another minute. GwaspaRi with his one obelisk here trying to oppose the multi-obelisk mayhem of ProSkills and Moody's combined forces. A couple of Pitbulls getting shut down there just north of the ridge. The southern Tiberium field has been half harvested by Moodii, or perhaps half destroyed, I'm not exactly sure. Vertigo bombers coming in from both sides. Great at eliminating those artillery options. Dizzlicious finding a bit of hope with the economy in the north. Main base is starting to actually regrow pretty substantially, especially this guy here. Moody's main base is almost fully charged and ready to be harvested. Spectres landing their shot. That splash damage cleaning up some of that Tiberium as well. Engineers recapturing some of these avatars, but the cultists making it difficult to hold on to them for very long. Vertigo's coming in for another pass, and it's going to be more behemoths and more specters paying the price as those Vertigos from Moodii find their targets. Eradicator Hexpod getting that health back up to full. Those Corruptors working overtime, bringing that Tiberium power. As I can't actually tell what those hammerheads were attacking. For a second, I thought they were attacking the behemoth, but no, I think they were going for the cultists. And finally, a way to deal with the cultists. Dizzlicious and GwaspaRi are finding their feet after being knocked off a little bit by the plays of our team on the right side, especially those cultists, causing some real problems for GwaspaRi and for Dizzlicious. EMPs will continue, but the phase keeps the Eradicator alive. The Vertigo bombers catching 4 Spectres in a couple of volleys, and these behemoths are now somewhat exposed to the chomp crush of this Eradicator Hexpod. The Redeemer steps forward, kind of body blocking that Eradicator Hexpod. I think GwaspaRi was trying to save the behemoths, or at least give them some additional time to evacuate, because that Eradicator Hexpod wants to come and crush them as quickly as he can. The Engineer goes down, another behemoth gets sniped, and this Eradicator will not be stopped. The phase is going to have to run out relatively soon, and it looks like Moodii has overstepped his bounds. His Redeemer will go down, and GwaspaRi gets the kill, but GwaspaRi loses the Harvester at the same time. 2-3 behemoths getting destroyed, and that Engineer has brought his guns. He's bringing the pain against that Eradicator Hexpod, eventually finding a Husk, and the Husks getting accidentally sniped by the splash damage. The infinite sell-offs from GwaspaRi as that entire minefield explodes in one Spectre artillery shot, and the whisk away as that Eradicator Hexpod gets blinked backwards from the front line to safety. Always careful to make sure that your damage sponges return home. It looks like ProSkills bring in the annoying plays, perhaps, and actually brings a drone platform as well. Drops a plasma missile battery and an additional photon cannon, adding it to the one that he already had. And GwaspaRi has harvested most of the Tiberium in the north, but it looks like the fields, the main base fields, are going to be powering the late game for at least ProSkills. He's got basically 2 Tiberium fields under his control up there. Dizzlicious and GwaspaRi continuing to fight it out with ProSkills and Moodii, the absolute artillery wars, and that is just what it is. Got those long distance shots. Uh-oh. GwaspaRi coming in, the Engineer play in the north, and GwaspaRi beaconing it even. He gets the drone ship, the immediate sell-off, the shutdown, plus the cash boost, and he is here to engineer something else. I'm not sure where this Engineer is going. It's just going to get sniped, I think, by the photon cannons. They're maybe distracted by the other units, but that Engineer making it in, and GwaspaRi managing to stop the attack in the north, but a signal transmitter is here for ProSkills. Ooh, another Eradicator Hexpod gets caught by the EMP. Another Eradicator Hexpod going down as the firepower is overwhelming. GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious, they have been playing toe-and-toe with each other to just pound on those epic units time and time again. The Behemoths, the EMPs, the Vertigos, the Redeemer, all coming together in concert to crush those epics. Meanwhile, ProSkills and Moodii have been bringing their own kinds of team play. The base defenses and the artillery of Moodii, in combination with the more active forces of ProSkills. And in this case, the annoying cultists and the stasis bubble of ProSkills to slow down those units. That Vertigo getting crushed by the sell-off there, and this Redeemer with its stealth advancing on to the front lines. But another Eradicator Hexapod, the third for this game, screams to the sky as it is born once again. The Behemoths will not be stopped, but that Lightning Spike was trying to get the kill there. The front line has been broken, but the base has not been pushed back just yet. And we've seen an overextension of an epic unit get turned against it. The Behemoths are the real clincher here, as the Behemoths are the thing that is difficult to deal with if you're our team on the right side. The Eradicator Hexapod is ready to go once again. It looks like it's got Blink and 2 Shock Troopers inside of it. So it looks like this is going to be a very spongy Eradicator Hexapod. Meanwhile, in the north, the base defense war continues to rage on and on. ProSkills, okay, he did have a gravity stabilizer, so he was able to rebuild the MCV. The MCV of Moodii falls. There's the blink forward. The Behemoths are the target, and the Pitbulls are going to destroy. Why did you turn around? Okay, you blinked forward, but now the EMP catches it, and this is going to be the third. The phase doesn't catch. The phase doesn't land. The phase missing, I think, because of the EMP, or perhaps the damage was already registered. Either way, that blink was the last move that Eradicator Hexapod ever made. It feels like the balance has shifted too far in favor of GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious. ProSkills and Moodii, I think, are going to have to pull something truly miraculous out to save this one. Maybe if they had some really good EMP tools, by the way, heroic Pitbull up there in the north. If they had some really good EMP tools, they might be able to do it, because if you can shut down the Behemoths, that's one big section of the problem dealt with. The Pitbulls aren't that scary, and if you are king of the EMPs, then the Redeemer fight can go your way as well. But it's hard to deal with the Behemoths, the Pitbulls, and the Redeemer when you don't have a ton of EMPs. ProSkills trying to bring out the descent plays in the north. It's just simply not going to work. This tip field in the middle of the map in the south truly was the make it or break it point for this game. GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious were able to take that field and control it over the course of the game. ProSkills and Moodii barely being beaten out there in that way. Oh my gosh, another Eradicator Hexapod! I guess maybe this is all just a time-buying opportunity for our team on the right side, and now that they've got an Eradicator and a Redeemer, they're hoping that they can manage to pull something out of close to nothing. It's not that they have nothing, it's that they have close to nothing. Plasma missile battery is there. And hey, let's try it again. The drone platform is once again there. The photon cannon is a little bit closer, so he's hoping that that'll deny any engineers from swinging in. A random obelisk there from Moodii and a storm column in the south from ProSkills are going to, I think, stop those Pitbulls from being as effective. All four Behemoths have gone down, and that is a great play by ProSkills. The blink forward and the killing of those Behemoths. The engineers coming in, and the engineer gets sniped almost by that Vertigo, but one husk does remain. Pitbull trading against Pitbull as ProSkills, I think, area mind controlling those Pitbulls and taking them away from Dizzlicious. The race of the engineer, but no! The combat engineer gets sniped, and he does not manage to pull out his gun in time. That Behemoth going down in a full squat position and then coming back up as another radar jamming missile firing off there, and they may have done it. ProSkills and Moodii have come back from the brink. I did not think that ProSkills was going to be able to get out another Eradicator Hexapod, but he was able to get that guy out. The blink forward destroyed the Behemoths, and it has reset the board a little bit here for our team on the right side. Our team on the left side is bringing the EMPs once again. It is just so many EMPs. As the animation fires off, but the EMP doesn't land. I think the buggy was already dead by the time the EMP would have actually taken effect. But that EMP does land. One obelisk barely still here. Another EMP doesn't quite fire off, but that one does catch all 3 targets. The Corruptor comes back online and starts spraying that healing toxin. But once again, Dizzlicious with the aircraft plays. I don't know what it's up with this Steel Talons aircraft, but they have just been so powerful this game for Dizzlicious. His tanks have done basically nothing, but his aircraft have been like unstoppable as Skrin. Mine Drop comes in, perfectly lands on top of that Redeemer, a snare and a catch to keep him out of the next battle, force him to retreat. A couple of stealth tanks are here. They're loaded up with those Tib core missiles. They find the behemoths. They don't get the kill. The Redeemer absorbs a couple more of their missiles, and one of them goes down. The second one managing to escape. And the double engineer Redeemer has got a pretty healthy health bar and a pretty decent amount of bullet sponginess, and suddenly what looked like a clear path to victory for our team on the left has been pushed back and rearranged so that the tables have turned. Our team on the right side rallying late in the game when I think most other players would have called it quits as the weights were against them. But no, they have rallied, they have pushed back, and they still have not harvested all of this field. They got like 3 harvesters up here. They literally are not harvesting enough of that Tiberium, and it's just growing back faster than they are grabbing it. We are trying to keep an eye on this veteran Redeemer, or rather this elite Redeemer. Behemoth's landing some big damage with the help of those Vertigos on that Redeemer. A big chunk of the health getting deleted there. Devastator warships? Yeah, I think ProSkills is going for the Devastator warship play and is gonna try and bring the artillery to the air. We'll see if it actually manages to work. Oh, hey, a Wolverine. Yeah, that's right. He is playing Steel Talons. Rage Gen fires off, but doesn't have too much of an effect. Oh, one Spectre does go down. Sometimes that Rage Gen is not very effective because all of the units have already been given attack commands. A couple of bikes from GwaspaRi coming in on the right side. They're going to try and suicide to get the technology assembler to stop any more Eradicator Hex pods from coming out if this one eventually goes down. The Eradicator Hex pod, which has retreated down south a good bit. I think GwaspaRi is confident that he can get another EMP chain and remove another Eradicator Hexapod from the equation. Well, if he does it with the Redeemer, he might go fully heroic finally. But he's been waiting there to get that fully heroic status with that Redeemer. Corruptor's getting sniped. No anti-air for this Skrin player as ProSkills. Well, he does have a little bit of anti-air with those shock troopers inside of the Eradicator. But almost every single Corruptor goes down there. And does he even need the EMP? Yes, he does. GwaspaRi had better use the EMP to save those behemoths. But no, the Vertigos come in, and yet another Eradicator Hexapod almost eliminated there. But it just barely gets saved, whisked away in the nick of time there in the south where the Mastermind, the Prodigy, is awaiting. The EMP wasn't ready. And the EMP did not keep it there. One Devastator warship is here. It's so low on health. It's slowly been working away at some of these buildings of GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious. And that Venom shows up for like 1 second to just blast that Devastator warship once, and then that's pretty much it. Blink forward onto the pit bulls? I don't think so, as these pit bulls are a little too nimble for that. I guess that almost worked. If he would have blinked into the middle of them, he would have almost gotten it. Eradicator Hexapod is in the south, but in the north, it's the War of the Nod players. The Rage Gen getting some good value as 2, now 3 of those Spectres get eliminated from GwaspaRi's Armada. Sniping the Husks as well. These Vertigos from Moodii getting some good value. Oh, and that's an Orca Strike coming in. I was wondering what that beacon was. An Orca Strike completely missing everything else. Hammerheads maybe looking for an opportunity to snipe those Corruptors. The Eradicator Hexapod rears its head once again. I had felt so sure that GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious were going to take this game some minutes ago, but now it feels like it's sort of anyone's game. And even from this point forward, oh, more behemoths getting sniped. Oh, Dizzlicious. He has found the value with the behemoths, but they keep getting sniped. He just can't keep the numbers up. Pitbulls coming in mass. They do find a couple of Spectres, but the photon cannons are just tearing them apart. How many Pitbulls are you trading for like 2 Spectres? Those base defenses are just too powerful for the Pitbulls to deal with. That Shredder upgrade or that Shard Launcher upgrade for the photon cannons is so good. And especially against these lightly armored units like Pitbulls. As we saw in the south, now it comes in the north. GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious slowly but surely over time crushing through their opponents' bases up there. The EMP finally finding this Eradicator Hexapod in the south. It looks like there are 3 more EMPs ready to go and locking it down again and again, but the damage output just isn't there. The Redeemer getting pushed back in the north, and this Eradicator Hexapod needs to be blinked away, but no, it gets caught again. This Engineer coming closer. I'm not sure what his goal is, but there's the phase. There's the saving of that Eradicator Hexapod. The splash damage lands on the Engineer and kills him. Unfortunately for Dizzlicious, he loses another combat Engineer. GwaspaRi with so many Awakened squads. He's trying to land the EMPs to stop that Eradicator Hexapod from being saved by the teleport away, and that is an EMP tip spike. That might be the first time I've ever seen an EMP tip spike. That's kind of funny. I honestly didn't even know that you could EMP a tip spike. What is that firing off? Is that Shockwave Artillery? Is that another Orca Strike coming in? Yeah, the Orca Strike misses. The EMP lands on the tip spike, and this tip spike might actually go down before the Eradicator Hexapod with all of this Spectre Artillery splash damage that's coming in. Eradicator Hexapod surviving the blast, and that tip spike does not. Lightning Spike gets deployed. The Eradicator Hexapod gets whisked away. The EMPs expire once again. ProSkills finds the saving of that Eradicator Hexapod in the nick of time. He slaps those hotkeys. He manages to get it away. And, well, it looks like 2 tip spikes go down in relatively short order. 1 tip spike remains, and I think that is it of all of the original tip spikes in the game. One of them dead by kind of friendly fire splash damage. And that is a fully heroic Redeemer marching around the map, and I think everyone is now aware of that. And, well, you better be careful. The Rage Gen already fired off for Moodii. Now it gets matched by GwaspaRi, as he's going to look to just sort of, not quite 1v1, since there are Behemoths, Hammerheads, and Pitbulls all here, but you can see how much damage that fully heroic Redeemer does with its big old gun. The splash damage may be the death of this Redeemer as those Spectre Artillery come in once again. GwaspaRi bringing almost everything that he has to the front lines here. A Planetary Assault Carrier spawning in at the same time. And the Redeemers, I think, will both walk away from that fight. I think maybe the Redeemer got whisked away, yes. Saved by the teleportation. And ProSkills moving out in the south. He's going to find himself a pretty much completely exposed base down here. Vertigo Bomber comes in, snipes both of the Corruptors at the exact same time. Perfectly done there, and the MCV gets grabbed. There's the sell-off as ProSkills wormholes a Prodigy over to the left side of the map, and this might be a bit of a base trade, a bit of a do-si-do. Buggy's coming in for the snipe on the Engineers. The Engineers just waiting for these Juggernauts to fall as the Meteor comes in, catches a couple of Behemoths, 3 of them at least, and this Planetary Assault Carrier retreats a little further from the front line. In the south, ProSkills is crushing forward. In the north, GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious are crushing through the original main base of ProSkills. It's an expansion for a main base, and they've both got critical tech structures. They've both got a lot of infrastructure. The Redeemer is powered down, but I think that's the only EMP that's nearby for either Nod player. Nope, Moodii brings in an additional buggy. It doesn't quite land. It gets cleaned up right as the animation fires off there, showing a bit of a visual bug there, as the Redeemer catches his opponent with that rear armor, doing so much damage. And this Redeemer is just like a couple of shots away from death, as Moodii tries desperately to save his Redeemer from the overwhelming firepower and healing ability of a double engineer, fully heroic Redeemer by GwaspaRi. The natural expansion has been destroyed, and it's going to be a bit of north versus south. GwaspaRi and Dizzlicious just moving across the northern half of the map. ProSkills and Moodii are going to have to be moving across the southern half of the map. And it does feel a bit more like ProSkills is doing all of the work. Moodii, it feels like, has sort of run out of steam, and I don't know if he just ran out of cash a little bit earlier or what, but this Redeemer goes down. Not often do we get to see a fully heroic Redeemer in a game, but we get to see it today. The Eradicator Hexapod is here. It's gone double vet, so it's elite as well, on the verge perhaps of going heroic. And I think this ProSkills is going to be looking to eat up some more artillery. If he goes for the Behemoth, he might find all of the Spectres as well. Is the blink going to happen? The EMP doesn't land just yet. There it fires off. The Corruptors get taken down. Once again, the Mine Drop a little off to the left, but this Eradicator is done. No escape for you, my friend. And now it seems like the tables have turned. Moodii drops out. It's all up to ProSkills. And maybe if ProSkills had about 2 or 3 more refineries in the south. Are you starting another Eradicator Hexapod? Are you kidding me? Another Eradicator Hexapod? He might really be trying to do this. A 1v2. He's got 2 sets of tech. 2 MCVs. Not quite 2 MCVs. 1 MCV and almost all of the tech structures from the Scrin player. Phase on the Harvesters. They can keep on harvesting while being attacked. And it looks like this Eradicator Hexapod will not be deployed. Going all in on the attacks. GwaspaRi is here to shut this down. The defense from those descents isn't enough. Even though they go heroic, it looks like the end is near. The GG gets called, and ProSkills throws in the towel, fighting until the very end. I don't know who ProSkills was, but he definitely plays a lot like Bike Rush owns. So it's either Bike Rush or that's just a compliment to whoever ProSkills is. And in this case, the skills of hexalaming were not enough, but that'll do it for an incredibly action-packed and massive 2v2 on Forgotten Force. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.